All right, everybody, what's up? It is the CBC Wisdom Hour, number 126 for February 9th, 2021. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
Tony B, coming to you from New Jersey. What's happening, brother?
What's up? Here we go. We're doing this now every week, I guess.
Episode number 126.
We're
Second
doing
episode live.
Yes, live. We're doing this on video now.
Video.
We have 124 episodes before. We did only on audio, which you can find on the website and other places. But we're doing it every week on video now, staying with the times and trying to involve you more.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have comments or questions, please ask them. Make sure you let StreamYard show your name so we can put that up on the screen and address you by name. And tell us where you're from. Tell us what where you're watching from and what you do, and anything you want. We'll talk about you. We'll talk about us.
Whatever you got, bring it out.
Bring it out. We'll talk about us a little bit, but we'll talk about you too. Yeah, a little bit.
It's an open platform show, though. We welcome all kinds of wisdom here.
We do.
We're an equal opportunity wisdom channel.
We are. And we have a couple things to talk about, but we kind of wing this too, and we keep it very organic and spontaneous because we're here for an hour, and that's a long time to talk. So
it goes by fast, though, Steve. It really does,
It does go by fast.
Good stuff, man. So what's going on?
Well, I had my surgery on Thursday.
That's right. How'd that go?
I was going to bring the picture up, and I forgot to do that, but the picture of when I first broke my arm.
Like the X-ray picture where it's all like...
No, not the X-ray. The actual photo of my arm with all the bruises and it's not a pretty picture, so I'm actually glad I didn't bring it up.
No one wants to see that, Steve. Everyone wants to know the positive outcome of your experience.
Yes. So I had a surgery. I broke my arm in June. I had my surgery in July, which kind of put everything back together because
swim camp was put on hold for sure.
Yes, among other things. But I had my elbow basically put back together, and was in physical therapy for several months, and had to go back in because there was some extra bone growth in the elbow, and the doc took it out. So that happened Thursday, and it seems to have worked because I was having trouble with rotation. Let me see if I get my hand up there. I was having trouble with rotation of my hand. Like this is my left hand, where I can rotate like that, and then my right hand couldn't go all the way. But now I could pretty much go all the way, and I was able to do that immediately after surgery.
So let me ask you a question. Did the bone grow? Do you have some kind of plate or screws in your elbow? I
have a piece of metal of titanium. It's about
titanium.
Yeah. If I'm going to have some metal in my arm, it might as well be titanium, right? It sounds pretty badass.
It's not carbon fiber, definitely titanium.
Right. It's about 2 or 3 inches long, and it's kind of connecting the bone in my elbow, I guess. It looks, when I see the x-ray of that, it looks big, and it looks like, oh my God, like I have that in my body. But that was the first surgery. So this second time, there was just like calcium deposits in the tissue you had to take out. Was preventing my range of motion. So as soon as I came out of surgery and I was awake, everybody comes in the room. Like it's all a blur. If anybody's ever been in surgery and had anesthesia before, when you wake up, you're just like,
you're like, huh?
Yeah, very disoriented. And the only thing I was aware of was like what time it was. I looked at because they had that clock right in front of you in the recovery room, and I was aware. And it was a few hours after the surgery, so I'm like, okay, I guess that took a while, or either that or I was asleep for a while. But then as soon as you wake up,
it was 5 minutes to you were out for like 2 hours,
right? But as soon as you wake up, everybody comes in the room. So like somebody alerts somebody, I guess. And that I'm still unclear on how that
He's awakened. He's awakened.
Right. He's alive. Thank God. So the doc came in, and that was one of the first things he asked me. He's like, try to turn your hand like that. And I was able to right away. So I was like, okay, I guess that worked.
So he removed the bone buildup from the titanium, or he ground down the piece of bone or whatever it was. Like he didn't do anything to your tendons or your actual infrastructure, because that would take a lot of recovery time.
Right. He just removed the extra
the obstruction, whatever was there.
The calcium deposits in the tissue. So he didn't mess with any of the other bone. He just took that out, I guess. That's what he told me he was going to do.
Wow.
So I was asleep for it, so I don't know. But yeah, so it seems to have worked. So I have to get back into physical therapy again, which will probably start maybe next week. But I'm really in better shape than I was prior.
But you'll have to do specific new exercises for your new range of motion, like for the specific application.
I think so. It's the extension that is still lacking, like extending my arm all the way. So I think that's what we're going to have to work on in physical therapy. But
gotcha.
I've been through it before. It's not that it's a thing. It sure is. But I've been through it before, and I could do it again. But the most important thing is I can play. Like I can play bass now. And there was a gig my band played Saturday. Yeah, my band played Saturday, and I told them, it's 2 days after my surgery. I don't think I'm going to be able to play. But come Saturday, I was like, I could have played tonight. I can play. I can.
Yeah, but
move my fingers.
Who would, it would have been prudent if they would have told you beforehand, like, hey, you're probably, you're going to be able to move your stuff right away. Like, it sounded like more of a minor procedure. You know what I mean? For you to be able to do that, hours, like right when you woke up from surgery, that's promising. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really know for sure, because you never really know for sure what's going to happen.
And how much better do you think it is now than it was? Like, how much more can you rotate it now than you could have before?
I can rotate it almost all the way normal, like very.
And what
close.
was it before? 3/4?
60% maybe.
60%?
Yeah, and now now I'm going. I'm going to say 90% right now.
Wow, that's great.
So yeah, it's very promising. But let me tell you, man, I don't want to have to do this again. I don't like surgery. It's not. So
surgery is not fun. It really is
not. And I mean, first order of business, I'm not going to do anything ever again in my life where I could potentially get hurt. I'm just too old to be doing.
Steve, do the stage dive, bro. Go for it.
No more things that I can get hurt. And number two, I really hope this is the last time I have to have this arm work done. So I'll do whatever it takes to get this arm better, back as close to normal as I can, and then onward and upward.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
how I feel. But I'll tell you the worst experience of this was it was so bizarre and so something that I'd never want to have to deal with again. They told me, an anesthesiologist came in before surgery and told me, he said, we've been doing this thing with some people and some people like it. So yeah. So he said, like, after surgery, we can do this thing called a nerve block, which is which is basically numbing your entire arm.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the advantage of this was they didn't have to give me as much pain meds as
correct.
Like I don't come out of it.
Like 24 to 36 hours, it wears off. Sometimes 40 hours,
Yeah. So I'm like, I asked him that. I'm like, how long is it going to be numb? And he said, oh, it could be up to 3 days. And I got 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days of having and I was like, and I said, I don't want this. I don't really think I want you to do this.
Right.
And he said, okay, we'll revisit it after the surgery, which really wasn't fair to do to me. Because I really was like, no, I don't want this. So I guess I don't have a video record of this or any audio record, but I guess.
Steve, sign this paper quickly. They grab your hand with a pen in it, and it's like, we're going to give you a nerve block now.
That may have happened. I don't remember. But I guess I must have agreed to it because they did it. And then, so I'm ready to leave. And like, I could not feel my arm. I could not move my arm at all. I could not feel my fingers. I could not move my hand. It was flopping around like a ventriloquist dummy. I had to move it with this. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever felt. And it scary because it's like you're looking at your hand and now all of a sudden it's like this phantom feeling, like where people who lose limbs or they have that sort of phantom arm still. And I was like, if I would close my eyes and I had the phantom arm thing going on, and I felt like my arm was in a certain position, but I would open my eyes and look, and it was just like there, like that, and like scary. So I was like, I was so upset. I'm like, I can't believe they did this. Like, and I was scared, and so I ended up resting a lot for that day. I was in and out of sleep, and plus, so I get home, and then one of the doctors, not the main doctor, but one of the doctors that was part of surgery, calls me. They gave me 5 different medications, and I have this bag, and it's in a closed plastic bag. And he calls me, and I pick up the phone, and he's like, "We just want to give you, post surgery instructions, blah blah blah." And he's like, telling me about these medications. He's like, "All right, I want you to take this and this now." And one of them was the pain thing, and they gave me Percocet. And I'm like,
and you turn a nurse to a glass of water and the pills on a tray for you. Here, Steve, eat these quickly.
Yeah. So it's in this enclosed, sealed plastic bag. And I'm like, I got floppy arm going on here, and I can't use it at all. And I need to open this bag. So I'm like, put the phone down, put him on speaker. With my teeth, I'm just like trying to get this thing open. And then, I open the bag with the 5 bottles of pills, and everything spills out onto the ground. And I'm trying to read. That's a small writing on the pillows.
And you're like, man, these have no street value now. They're dirty.
And I'm trying to decipher what each one of these things is for. And the Percocet I knew. I was like, okay, I know this name, and it doesn't say Percocet, but it's like hydro something. So I'm like, okay, I know this pain pill. Then there's 4 other ones. I'm like, I don't know what these are. And like, I literally had to have him explain it like 3 or 4 times, like which ones to take right now, which ones to take tonight, which ones to take tomorrow. But I finally sort of figured it out. So then I was just sort of in and out of sleep for the rest of the day.
I was just taking handfuls of pills at random times and just hoping for the best.
I don't like it. I don't like taking pills at all. I don't just.
No, well, dude, when I had my shoulder done, same thing. They gave me oxycodone, and it was so the first time I had my shoulder done, I said, he said, well, I got the nerve block, same thing. They don't tell you though that there is a potential that it might not unblock. Like you could have residual permanent damage from them doing the nerve block. So I'm like, oh, that's good to know after I got it. Right. And then, basically then the whole time that, like you said, you're recovering, they give you the pain meds, but the oxycodone doesn't take the pain away. It just makes you loopy and all like dopey and sleepy. So I was taking like extra strength, 100 milligram, Tylenol, ibuprofen. And that was what saved me, and I didn't take any of the oxycodone because it just wasn't working. It was not getting rid of the pain in any way, shape or form.
I think it did for me for the first few days. And I took one yesterday. Like I had to do a bunch of things. I finally took a shower yesterday, and I took this all off, and I redressed it with fresh gauze and everything. And that was a big ordeal, doing that with one hand.
Oh yeah.
But after I got everything done that I felt like I need to get done, I was like, all right, I'm in pain. Let me take one of these pain pills. I haven't really been like my sleep schedule is just completely out of whack. But taking that yesterday, it made me feel like shit. I was like, I don't like this at all.
That's what I mean. It makes you loopy. It's not even like it doesn't even help you sleep. It makes you loopy. So it was like a couple scotches and, some extra strength Tylenol, and that's it. And the thing with the shoulder is you're supposed to sleep in a chair for like the first 6 weeks.
Right.
So I was sleeping on the couch, like propped up, sideways, like to keep it elevated. But, yeah. And then once it's done, you're like, now all I care about is that I can play my instrument,
Yeah.
I don't need to do any precarious things that may damage my limbs again.
Yeah, definitely not. But
it's not fun.
But I decided after yesterday, I'm not taking that Percocet anymore. I don't like it. It's like it's loopy, and it's just like it bothers my stomach, and it makes me feel off. Like really.
So that was Thursday, right? You had surgery Thursday. So I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 5 days. That's pretty good that you're not in that much pain anymore.
Yeah. The pain isn't that bad. It's there, but it's not that bad. But I feel like once I start going back to physical therapy
and they start cranking on it, then you're definitely going to be pain revisited. quickly.
Yeah, so I'll address that, but overall, I think it was a good move, and it's done, and it was a good time to do it because we're still not really playing, and that's that.
Yeah,
Cover
so you're
Band
saying
Central says hi guys, and this is Chunk, and for some reason it's coming up
Cover Band Central. He's
as
incognito tonight.
because he's a moderator in the group and probably has other permissions, so
It's
it's
going
coming up there.
undercover.
Yeah,
Secret.
but thanks for joining us, Chunk. So there's a bunch of things I want to talk about, but let's address these people here. This is business. It's kind of like Wizdumb. Business Co.
It's kind of like
Says
wisdom.
good afternoon. It's 12:15 a.m. in Australia. That's Eastern Australia Daylight Time. So what's up, Business Co? Nice picture.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. And Thomas Clay Morris asked this question. He said, opinions on dad rock. He said he thinks it's overplayed, especially in local scenes. And I don't know exactly what dad rock means. Do you?
Dad rock.
Yeah, what is dad rock?
I'm not sure. Let's look it up. Maybe old guys trying to be young.
I don't know. If Thomas, if you're still here, be more specific what dad rock means. And Business Co said it's PM. She meant. So good evening.
Let's see.
Or good afternoon. PM would be afternoon. Yes. So dad rock, I guess dad rock is classic, right?
Everything you've been told about dad rock is a lie. I'm not a dad, but I rock like one.
Have you ever seen the dad band video on YouTube?
I have not.
You got to see that. I'm not going to bring it up right now, but people go to YouTube and search for dad band, and it's hilarious. It's guys in their late 40s, maybe early 50s.
Well, here we go. Dad rock. Rock music that appeals to an older generation or that is heavily influenced by that of an older era.
But define older. What is older? 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s? What is older now?
Let's see. What is considered dad rock? The simplest dad rock definition is stuff your dad used to listen to. We see it most commonly applied here to artists like Creedence Clearwater Revival, the Eagles, Chicago, Clapton, McCartney, the most dad of all the Beatles by far, Bruce, Paul Simon, and the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
So it's that sort of genre of tunage.
Like early 70s stuff.
Late 60s, early 70s. Dad rock.
All right. Business Co said fellow pain sufferer, and that picture is his daughter or her daughter. Great model. So his or her daughter. I don't know. Business Co. Yeah, there's this video on YouTube called Dad Band, and it's these guys getting the band back together basically and going into the garage and playing a song or just jamming for the first time in a long time. And one of the people in the video is Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, and he plays the bass player of this band. And it's not long; it's an 8 or 9 minute video, just kind of a fictional.
I think I have seen that video. Now that you're saying about Jerry Cantrell, that just jarred my memory.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. So I recommend anybody who wants a good laugh to go check that out.
Yeah,
the Dad Band, it's called.
But I think anybody that's playing in a band, if you're going to get out there and play, and you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to have a good time doing it, and the people are going to enjoy it, that's what it's all about,
Agreed.
Regardless of the music, everyone needs. I don't know if it's overrated, underrated, but if people are enjoying it, then you're doing your job. The band is meant to entertain, but also you got to have enjoyment in creating the music that you're doing. And if the guys are really into that sort of music and that's what they want to play, then good for them.
Yeah, like Thomas is saying, he thinks it's overplayed, especially in local scenes. But define local. Local to you is not the same as local to other folks. So
also, maybe you want to find some new local venues to check out if they're all playing dad rock. Maybe you're in the wrong part of town, right? I mean, where exactly? What's geographically, where are we speaking about?
Exactly.
And why is there such a resurgence of dad rock in that one area?
Right.
Steve, send your people there to investigate and do a story on why dad rock is so prevalent in certain communities throughout the country.
In this guy's area. I mean, I could search
Charlie, write that down. Thank you. Sorry.
I could search this guy's profile and see where he's from, but I'm not going to do that right now because he could tell me if he's still here. He might not still be.
Either way, listen. So he's asking our opinion on it. Like I said, I don't know if it's overplayed, but I think a lot of people play that type of music still and mix it into their sets. It's a different. It depends on the venues that you're playing, right? That's what it really comes down to. But again, if you guys are having fun. That's all that matters. But on a different note, I forgot to mention this to you that I had discovered over the weekend and I've forgotten about it. You ever see on YouTube the early Van Halen demo? It's called Zero. It's about 40 songs or 30 something songs on there. And it's all the original versions of Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and Women and Children First.
I've never seen the video. No.
Eddie wrote all the songs before he was 20 years old. So he basically wrote the first 3 Van Halen albums before he was 20.
I've heard other demos. I've heard demos of some of those songs, but I've never seen that video.
No, it wasn't a video. It was like a montage of pictures, but it was the audio someone had put up. It was of that of all their original demos.
I have not seen that, but that's
very, very cool. Yeah, brought me back to old Van Halen days. Yeah.
Chonk is saying that some people are considering Foo Fighters to be the new dad rock. So, Foo
Fighters dad rock.
I mean, Dave Grohl is like my age. I think he's exactly my age, actually. But Foo Fighters have been around for 20 years.
25 years. 25 years they've been around.
And so, they could be dad rock. Sure. Why not? And everybody's putting up links to videos, which I can't see here. So I'm guessing they put up. If you're on the Cover Band Central page or in the group watching now, you can see those videos that Chonk and Bizco have linked.
Business Co.
Business Co. Sorry, right? Should just go Bizco.
Business Co. Kind of like Nabisco. See, Nabisco's closing. They're closing down the Oreo. Nabisco and Fairlawn, they're moving.
It's about time.
After 50 years.
I don't know. Business Co. said Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Chili Peppers fan. Sorry.
I like Chili Peppers.
I don't.
I think Chad Smith's a great drummer.
I don't. And I saw somebody else post this recently too. My exact feelings about the Chili Peppers is I love Flea. I think he's a great bass player. Much respect to Flea, but I just don't like the band. I like some of the songs, and I've definitely played some of the songs, and I'll listen to some of the songs, but for the most part, I just don't like him. And I've seen him live at least once, and I still didn't like him. I'm sorry. It's Anthony Kiedis. I don't like. He's what he is, but it's just not my cup of tea. Sorry. So that's not my dad rock. My dad rock is the Who and Zeppelin.
Yeah, I think that's what. Again, though, but those weren't bands that were listed in the dad rock genre. So I don't know if it's just classic rock, but the more not the real iconic bands like that.
Like it has to be specific bands.
I guess. I mean,
Okay.
What I just looked up was a certain genre. That Clapton, Creedence, kind of vibe, Grateful Dead. I wouldn't put them in the same category as, like you said, Zeppelin or any of the bands that we grew up listening to.
Okay. That's fine by me.
But again, send your people out and find out where this is happening, Steve. We need to, we need to scoop on this.
We'll get on it. We'll get right on it.
Thank you.
So we are leading up to. I'm in New Orleans, and we are leading up to Mardi Gras, which is next Tuesday, is Fat Tuesday.
Yeah.
So a week from today, and we've been doing this podcast for years. So each year, I talk about what's going on with me playing with Mardi Gras, what's going on in the city.
Yeah, Fat
And
Tuesday is always a big night for you. Play.
it's a big time of year. It's carnival, and it lasts for several weeks, especially several weeks where there's parades, there's more people in town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun, exciting time here to be a musician, to play. You get big crowds. We don't make any more money playing Mardi Gras. If in fact we make a little less because people are less inclined to tip. That crowd is less inclined to tip because they're typically younger crowds and what you would call rookies as far as partiers are concerned. And they don't tip as well. So and we don't get paid anymore by the venues. But it's still fun. It's exciting. I like it. I like playing in big crowds and it's fun. But this year is different, obviously, for COVID. And I'm going to show you, and I'll read it, but I'm going to show you the guidelines that were laid out, and it was laid. I think it was Friday. This was announced. Again, I'm a little fuzzy because of the surgery, so with days and things like that. But I'm going to show you what's going.
5 days later, you can't be fuzzy anymore.
Yeah, well, I can be, and I am. So there.
I can be, damn it, and I will be.
But this is what's been presented to us here in New Orleans this year by order of the mayor of New Orleans. And this is not what I want. I want this. And this is okay. COVID restrictions in place from Friday, February 12th. Which is this Friday through Tuesday, February 16th. Bars closed indoor and outdoor citywide. No sales of to-go drinks. No sales of packaged liquor in the French Quarter. No pedestrians or vehicles on Bourbon, Frenchman, and Decatur from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m., except for residents, employees, hotel guests, and restaurant retail goers. And no pedestrians on Claiborne under the bridge. So, yeah, this is like huge.
So bars closed indoor and outdoor citywide means everything's closed.
Everything is going to.
So there's no bars allowed open at all for Fat Tuesday.
For Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 5 days, yeah. So
wow.
Obviously there are no bands playing anywhere in the city. So wow. Indeed.
Yeah, that's the first, man. Holy cow. But I mean, again, unprecedented times call for, extreme action and measures. And it would be like if they didn't do that.
Yes. But as you would expect, people have reacted to that. Musicians have reacted to that announcement. And I should have brought this picture up too, and I did, but there was a picture of Bourbon Street from this past weekend, and it is jam-packed with people.
I'm sure. That's why they're shutting it down, right? I mean,
yes.
So they're not having bands, but the bars are open, right?
Right now, yes. But come Friday,
and to what capacity are they open by you?
They're in phase 2, which was.
But is that what? 35, 45, 50%? 20%?
No, not even. It's like 20% maybe.
Okay.
But like Bourbon Street, the band, the bars that would have bands normally, they're not open. They're not opening. As far as I know, anyway, I don't think any of them are open because they're not going to.
So what places are open? Regular bars that would not normally have music? Mostly
places that sell food. Mostly places that have restaurants. I think, but I haven't been down to Bourbon Street, for a long time, so I don't really know. But what I do know is that people are still coming here, and people are walking around on Bourbon Street with many of them without masks, many of them getting alcohol somehow and drinking. Even I think the novelty for people is still there. Like people come, I'm going to come to New Orleans around Mardi Gras, and they could go to a package store somewhere and get beers and walk up and down the street and drink, or get whatever.
Send Walter or Simon out for them to go, like your people, get them out there and tell them to investigate what's going on and report back.
You know that.
It'd be good to know,
Okay.
feedback from the local, club owowners and restaurant owners to see what they have to say about it.
I don't want to.
I'm sure they're very upset. Like you said, it would normally be a big weekend, but given the situation, their mandate and everything's closed. But the places that would normally be open can't be open, right? So that's what they got to be up in arms about because they're open now.
Yes, yeah, but the music community, especially the musicians here, are just like, there's people here. They're coming here anyway. They're not wearing masks anyway. They're making that decision. So why are you cutting off our right to go out and make some money? Why?
Yeah.
And I understand why. Like I'm not mad about it myself, but I mean, I understand both sides is what I'll say. I understand why musicians, people like me who rely on this for our livelihood, are pissed. But I also understand the other side, why they're saying, okay, let's try to cut this and err on the side of caution. I get that part too. So I don't really feel strongly either way about it because I understand it. But it's still,
listen, it's unprecedented circumstances. Like you said, this, you're living down there for how long now?
I've been here for 10 years. Yeah.
10 years. So in 10 years, this will be the first time ever, but I'm sure if you look back in history too, this is probably one of the, very few times that Bourbon Street was ever shut down or didn't celebrate Fat Tuesday and subsequently Mardi Gras.
Yeah. I've heard people say that some things have happened. Something has happened like this that was similar, but it was a long time ago.
That's, historically, maybe a couple of times.
Yeah. And it wasn't to this extreme. I mean, that's extreme. Because Mardi Gras weekend, dude, here is like Black Friday for retail. Friday weekend for retail. And Black Friday was named Black Friday because it's when all those businesses expect to go into the black because they're making a lot more money. I don't know if people knew that, but that's what that term comes from. So Mardi Gras here is like Black Friday.
Wizdumb right there, calling it out.
Yes.
Black Friday.
It's the Wizdumb whistle.
Just in case you
I love the Wizdumb whistle.
The Wizdumb whistle just came out.
You have to write Wizdumb whistle on that thing.
I can't. It already has. It says Stroudsburg Railroad on it.
Just get write it on a piece of paper and tape it over.
The Wizdumb whistle. Okay.
I love alliteration. So anything alliterative makes me happy. Alliterative makes me happy. Wizdumb whistle.
What does alliterative mean?
Alliterative. It means it starts with the same two words that start with the same letter or the same sound.
More, dude.
WW.
Jam packed full of wisdom, dude. The Wizdumb whistle's out.
I love alliteration. Okay, so Billy Fisher said that was so wrong about the closing the quarter. Somebody said, Facebook user said, "What's up, guys? Let StreamYard show your name so I know who you are." Some Facebook user said, "Hey, brother."
What's up, brother?
Let somebody show your name, or let StreamYard show your name so I know who you are. And then Facebook user said, "Supercharger is at Southport Hall Friday and Whiskey Cowboy Mardi Gras Day. Thank God." And I think that's Ross watching. And if that Ross Stevens, who's a singer, I think that's who that is saying this. But that's
outside of Bourbon.
Let me show his name. Yeah, and Ross is great. And I'm glad he came on here and said this because that's something I want to talk about. Some of them diehard musicians, the lifers here, what they have been doing is playing outside of the French Quarter, outside of the city of New Orleans, and playing fairly regularly at places like Southport Hall and Whiskey Cowboy, which are two places that I've played as well since COVID. But these guys are playing regularly. They're kind of hitting that circuit. It's Metairie area, which is 15 minutes or so outside of the city. Okay. So
it's not that far to travel.
Said Mike Schultz, drummer, and a lot of people lived there. So they're doing shows and they're killer. These are the elite musicians that are around here that have been here forever and that they play and they can't not play. They just have to play. So they're going out and they're playing. They're getting friends coming out and they're getting people who are really just freaking hungry for live music and coming out and see them play. So they're doing it right and not relying on powers that be to make to control our lives and to make decisions for us. There's only so much we can do, you have to kind of be responsible. I understand people being pissed, but you have
but
to
it's the
take
hustle too,
responsibility.
where those guys are recognizing an opportunity outside of the quarter, right? And being, that they have to play. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
They're gonna, like you said, go outside the normal realm of thought and the complacency of everything being closed down and say, well, what is open and what are the opportunities that are out there? And maybe we got to travel a little bit, but let's get going. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think some people are kind of violating some of the guidelines, but I mean, nobody's policing it. Nobody's like, you don't have cops showing up like counting people or checking masks or anything like that. I mean, a lot of people aren't afraid, and it makes sense, because of the reality of this. But a lot of people want to err on the side of caution, which also makes sense. So.
Right. But you still want to be proactive about trying to pursue, like you said, better to ask for, to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard people say that phrase. I've heard married couple.
It's wisdom right there.
Wisdom whistle.
That's it. But you have to know the situation too, right? You want to push the envelope and do things outside the boundary, but you have to know, ethically what's if that's the right choice to make at that time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I played my gig last week and it was outdoors and ethically it was fine. People had the opportunity to social distance.
I didn't mean gig decisions. I meant like life decisions. Like if I said, hey, Steve, I got this great idea. We're not supposed to be out, but we're gonna run across this 8-lane highway at rush hour and see who can get to the other side first. You might say, I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm not willing to risk doing that. But to say, hey, I'm going to go play this venue that is open. And, like think about how many gigs you played, on Bourbon Street, where it was like clearly like clubs are shut down. Okay. But this one Saturday night, the bar's going to open. There's going to be 100 people jammed in there and the band's going to play until the cops come. And, and they do it and you bum rush it and then the cops do come, but it's not like everyone's going to jail. They just shut it down. But at least you had an opportunity to do it, and that's what I'm saying. It's like a calculated risk you have to take, and you have to weigh ethically against like how badly do you want to do it versus, what are the repercussions and, what level of satisfaction are you going to get out of doing it? The given, challenge.
And it's pretty badass too, to just be like, yeah, what, screw it. I'm just going to go and do my thing because I have to play. Some of these people are doing it because they really need the money, but
that too, desperate, you start getting into desperate times and you start seeing, what you got to do. It's like, you got to really look outside the box and think outside, the normal realm of what your opportunities might be that have been there for all these years, because it's a different landscape now and it's going to be different, coming through this. Once the warm weather comes and they'll have bands outdoors, at least up here, and that'll be good for a little while. But then, come fall, I'm sure they'll put restrictions back on again if it's not gone. If it's not everyone's hoping not. I mean, all the music stuff that I've seen is September. I haven't seen anything before that. August, maybe, they canceled Coachella.
Yeah, they moved Jazz Fest here, which would normally be at the end of April, beginning of May, and they moved it to the fall. But they haven't announced any sort of lineup. I don't think that the particular dates are out, but it was like they moved it to October. But they could always move that again. I hope we're on the tail end of this, man. Steve Christopher said, "Hey guys, Steve Christopher is a drummer, and he's in Florida. And Florida is
a drummer.
Florida is a whole different story. Florida, it's just like it doesn't. There is no COVID. They're just doing whatever.
Yeah, so, they're way ahead of us.
Yeah, which I guess is working out okay for them. Facebook user again. Let's stream or share your name so I can address you by name. But Facebook user said, we are starting to book in Dayton, Ohio area, but I admit to being COVID nervous. St. Patrick's Day is the first gig.
Hey, and that's a valid, concern too, right? Because if you're singing and you're going to have to take your mask off on stage, and if there is a lot of people in the room and they're not masked, right? Or some are, or some aren't, again, it's how, not you're willing to take a risk. No one wants to get COVID. Jimmy, who I played in the band with, right? He got COVID, and it wasn't so bad the first couple of days. He had a bad cough, and then then he was on an inhaler, just trying to keep himself from coughing, and he's through the woods now. But he's a healthy guy, and he didn't get knocked down and out by it, but it wasn't like a head cold, and he just powered through it. He was definitely feeling it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've said it a million times on the regular podcast, but I'm not afraid myself of getting it.
Yeah.
And I had started this podcast saying that I don't want to do anything where I could potentially get hurt. But
that's an interesting.
Sick is different than hurt.
Right, but that's an interesting topic to put out to all the Cover Band Central audience is. So if you're in a band, 4, 5, 6 people, and 1 or 2 people don't want a gig because of COVID, how do you address that? Right?
You mean in your band?
Yeah, in any band, you have a band, right? There's thousands of cover bands out there. So as soon as they say like, hey, we got this gig, we can go play this thing. There's going to be, 150 people there, whatever, and maybe not have masks on. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people or in the band that are not comfortable with that, right? So that's a good topic to think about, like band wise. How do you address that, right? Because you got to respect everybody's opinion and sensitivity to it, right? But at the same time, if every do you get a substitute?
Yes.
For that position. I mean, more so down by you because that's a regular occurrence, right? The way the music community is in New Orleans, right? It's like everyone knows everybody, and if you need somebody and there's a gig and somebody can't make it, they'll just call somebody else to do it,
Yeah.
But up north, it's more band oriented. You know what I'm saying? Like the individuals that are in certain bands are not really commingling and subbing and filling in a scene with a whole bunch of other people, right?
Right.
Like it used to be when we were growing up.
Right. So it'd be more difficult to get somebody to bring in to sub that is going to know the show, know the material, know
exactly
harmonies, like everything. Yeah. But yeah, here definitely we get a sub. And when I used to live in Jersey, and I would do it too, playing I mean, we did it a lot. I played in a band called Mad Rabbit, which for some of the time was my band where I was booking it and I was doing all the work. And the philosophy that I had, which my singer shared with me, was protect the gig. So if we got a gig, we had to protect the gig, and we had to do whatever it took to make sure we could play the gig. So we had, I was pretty good because I knew a lot of people in Jersey. I played around a lot. So I knew a lot of musicians that I could call that could get it done. So I always kind of had a list of drummers and a list of singers, and that's something I continued when I came down here to New Orleans. So even in Jersey for that band, but it was a cover band. We were basically playing songs that pretty much everybody knows. So it was easy enough. But a band like the band that you were most recently playing with, that would be a little more difficult because the material is not common. Right.
Very eclectic song selection, so not everyone would be familiar with that, they're definitely not songs that everybody plays. 1 or 2 maybe, but not for the majority of the set.
Right.
But that's just an interesting challenge. I think bands are going to have to overcome, and they're going to come across, and as things start to open up again. So St. Patrick's Day gig, that's going to definitely be indoors. It's too cold to be outside, right? March 17th. I mean, it depends on the weather, but it's typically still pretty cold.
There, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, up here, right? Yeah, but so
sometimes
you're definitely not going to see anything like that up here until I would think after April. I think April, May stuff will start opening back up again.
Right?
Because we've been calling out, to book gigs too, and most places are saying, they're starting to get calls. So everyone's starting to think the same way. We're starting January, February to try to book now for May, June, July gigs, thinking when people are going to be back open again. So my takeaway from that and the advice is that, get in early, get in the club owners' ears early, right? So that, but we'll call you when, we're getting ready to open up, or call back in a month, and you get the person's name, and you know the drill, Steve, when you're trying to book your own band, you're trying to make a contact there and stay relevant in their memory so that when they do start opening up again and you call, oh, right, Steve, yeah, I talked to you a couple of times over the past couple months. Yeah, here's what I got, And you're not cold calling for the first time in April or May trying to get those gigs, So get on the bandwagon early. That would be my advice. People are calling now for then,
Yeah, I agree. And it would have been in your best interest during this whole pandemic time to kind of stay in touch with those people, like be friends with them on Facebook if you can, like club owners and managers, and just give them a shout out every once in a while, or like one of their posts or something. Just keep you on their mind, or your band on their mind. This is John. He's in Dayton, Ohio, and he said they may be in a tent on St. Patrick's Day. So, and I'll go back to Marianne said this long comment here, but she said very similar to what it's like there in Ireland. They haven't played a gig except for live streaming for almost a year. No bars open. They're looking at a canceled St. Patrick's Day next month for the second year in a row. It's the biggest day of the year for bars and bands in Ireland, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Here too, but it is big. And, again, it's going to be, to her point, the second year in a row, starting last year. That's about when things shut down, because I remember that was spring break for my kids last year, so that week of St. Patrick's Day, I think it was the 13th or the 14th was that Monday, was for sure, that was when work shut down. That's when, I was, after that week off, I worked from home. I didn't go back to the office. That week I actually took off was the first week that everyone was going to work from home.
Yeah. 15th was the date that was our last date that we played, and people were celebrating St. Patrick's Day here on that weekend because St. Patrick's Day was on a Tuesday last year. And, people don't need an excuse to party here in New Orleans, but if they have one, they'll do it. So there was a lot of green that weekend.
Well,
and then the 15th was the last day that we played. So we're coming up on a year. Long friggin' year, man.
Hey, but listen, that's promising that these places are having, they are going to have gigs, at least for, like you said, Dayton, Ohio, so some places will open up. So that's good. That's a sign that, it's going to start to be a revival of sorts,
We'll see. I don't even know. I barely watch the news anymore because I don't know. I'm just trying to do right now. Obviously,
Hey, listen, like we've been saying all along, right? Yeah, I mean, you're taking advantage of that time, but you got to take advantage of the downtime, refine your craft and invest in yourself to practice and get better. And like we did with the show, buy a little bit of gear. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but, push yourself to be better. Surround yourself with people that make you better, that want better for you. And it'll help you to feel like you want to do better. But if you don't have anybody, you can still rely on yourself. You can still, it's hard to develop the habits to do it. But if you can practice and you can, make use of the downtime, I mean, in another month, Steve, it's going to be a year, right, since the shutdown. So think if you had started something in earnest a year ago and really stuck with it, where you would be with it right now, So the time's going to go by, like we always say. So if you can develop a routine to do something every day to advance yourself, professionally, mentally, musically, spiritually, anything that you can, take advantage of the time. Because let's say we do have another 3 or 4 months, now's still a good time to undertake something and develop a good habit, because then by springtime, you're going to be in the groove of doing it. And then, stuff's going to start opening up again. And then, it's harder to start something when life is busy, right? And things are open and you got things to do and your calendar's full. It's hard to start something new and stick with it. But now, knowing that you have a couple of months ahead of you where you're going to slowly ease back into some sort of normalcy, is a good time to get it going. So by the time the calendar does start to get busy and life starts to pick up again, you're already in a good, solid, positive routine of doing something.
Right. Well said, and I agree. It's not too late. Even if you've been a slug for the last year and like not really doing anything, now you could just be like, all right, let's go. Here we go. Now we're gonna make some changes, and you still do have time. So when you kind of reemerge, you're going to be better for it. You're going to be a better player at what your craft, your instrument, or be better at any number of things. There's so many things that you can explore and learn about and get better at it within this industry. If it's something you want to continue to do, because things will get back. People will still want music. People will still want to hear live music.
Absolutely. And the live stream's still going to be a thing, and YouTube's still going to be a thing, right? So, figure out how to make videos and how to, do the audio with it. Like, that's good business code, small steps every day. That's it. Consistency, you got to do a little bit each day.
Yeah.
And then the aggregate of that is a huge reward for yourself, Yeah,
it really is. And I feel like even though I've had this sort of handicap, I'm still kind of doing it. And, just taking care of this issue is along the same lines to me.
It is. You have to, like you said, when when that first happened, I remember you said, like, I'm going to do my exercises at home and I'm going to do what they tell me to do. And I'm going to do my physical therapy because I want this to be, I want to have success. So, law of attraction, right? You set your mind to something and you say, I'm going to follow this and I'm going to be successful at it because I know in my heart that it's going to work because I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do. So why wouldn't it work, right? They always tell you that when you're doing a rehab of some sort, if you don't, if you get lazy with it or you don't do the exercises, you're going to lose the range of motion. You're going to lose the flexibility because it's going to start to tighten up on you. You need that daily routine of doing the exercises. It's for anything else. If you want to get in shape, you got to do something every day. If you want to practice your instrument and get better, you got to do it every day, even if it's only for 15 minutes. But the consistency of doing it for 15 minutes every day, that's what adds up at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of 6 months.
Yeah. Agreed. I've been trying to lose weight, and I have not had an appetite since my surgery, and I've barely been eating, and I've lost really like 5 pounds in the last week.
See that? So you just jump started yourself. So now you're on your way. Now eat healthy and exercise and go for the walks, and
Yeah. I feel very fortunate that I got through this relatively quickly. It's only 5 days ago, and I still feel like.
I'm amazed, dude. I can't believe that you can move your arm like that, after surgery. That's great.
I know.
And you have stitches and stuff from incisions and going in that you have to get removed still?
Yeah, they're I don't know what they call them, melt away stitches or fade away or something. But when I unwrapped it yesterday, I could see, and the scar is the same. He went into the same spot, but he made it a little longer. So it's a good 6 inches long, at least. The scar on my arm. I'll show you when my stuff is off.
You'd be like, I have scars.
Chicks dig scars.
Tough guy now. Hey,
that's what I hear anyway.
Good stuff.
So we got a little time left. Valentine's Day is coming up on Sunday. And I don't think that's a really big thing for bands. I don't think that's a big holiday for bands, really, but I would imagine there are certain songs that people
historically play. I don't think that there's many Valentine's Day gigs going on.
Yeah, I mean it is on a Sunday, so
and it's Sunday. True. I mean, yeah. If you were playing, hey, listen, I've played gigs in the past. I can remember it on Valentine's Day, and it was like the bar would just hype it as like it's Valentine's Day. Come out for dinner with your date and come see the band and. I don't think it was any more, packed than it normally would be. I think a lot of people go out to dinner and stuff on Valentine's Day, but then I think a lot of people stay home too.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to see a rock band is not the most romantic thing to do.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day. So,
unless they dedicate a song and then, hey.
If you're playing in a nice, easy listening band, a piano bar, then okay.
Right.
Then you're good. But for rock
I'm
band,
sure there's musicians out there that have a very successful Valentine's Day gig as a yearly thing. Just to your point, like a nice, piano or a duo or, a cappella or something like in a more relaxed atmosphere, not a full blown high energy rock cover band.
Agreed. I don't think it's I can't remember one Valentine's Day.
That's like a total oxycodone. Agreed. Like Bob Ross, my happy little tree over here. Going to paint him up. Good stuff.
I didn't take it today.
You need to drink some coffee, man, and pump it up.
I don't do that. I don't do caffeine.
No? You're just naturally caffeinated?
No,
Not
I
so
don't.
much.
I'm naturally more mellow. I don't like to be agitated,
Okay.
so I don't do caffeine. I have a heart thing that I've had for a long time, so I stay away from the
Caffeine's not
caffeine.
agreeable to you, so you want to stay away from that.
Yes, I like to be
Good idea.
calm, kind of zen, relaxed.
When I drink coffee, I
Kumbaya.
get relaxed, believe it or
Do you
not.
really?
Yeah.
I like drinking coffee.
When we used to fly to LA to go to the NAMM show, me and Joe Bergamini, we get on the plane, it'd be for like early flight, 7, 8 a.m. We get on the plane, we'd eat breakfast. I would get a coffee. He'd get a coffee. I would eat breakfast. He wouldn't drink his coffee. So I would drink my coffee, eat the breakfast, finish his breakfast, drink the coffee that he got for me, and then fluff up the pillow and then wake up 5 hours later in LA. Every time,
Perfect.
just like that. He'd have all kinds of stuff ready to go. He's working on this, he's working on that. He's going to read this. I'm like, well, I'll see you in 5 hours, man. Just let me sleep. No problem. Right to sleep. Whoop.
That's perfect. I've never had an
Love
issue
it.
sleeping on planes. I love as
No.
soon as even before everybody's on board, I'm just like I got my window seat, I got my little whatever makeshift pillow.
Has to be window seat because
I'm
you can
out.
pull the shade down, jam your pillow into it, and you can
Yeah.
get good angle for sleep.
Oh yeah, you have to have a window seat.
Yeah,
There's
if you're not
there's
sleeping, then get away from the window seat.
right. You can't have a middle seat and have a good flight.
No.
Aisle
That was
seat.
also when it was like 2 aisle 3, or I remember flying on the A300 Airbus where it was 3 4 3. It was 3 aisle 4 in the middle, aisle 3.
Right.
Big plane. And you just take the red eye back, on Monday morning from California. You'd leave there at night, and then you get to Newark at like 5 a.m. And many times on that flight back, there was nobody on the plane.
I
Like
love that.
it was barely full. So the stewardess would say, go ahead, you can go in the middle. And we'd put all the armrests up across the 4 seats and get us some pillows and blanket and got the movie going. And it was like, oh, it was awesome. Like a private jet,
I had one flight where I was coming back from like Washington State to Louisiana, and I was in a 3-seat row, and there was nobody else
Yeah.
in that row but me. And I just armrests up, and I just laid down. I had a pillow. I laid down. It was great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only way to fly.
Yeah.
That's
I've been
first
on red
class in
eyes
my
too
book.
that were packed though, like to the gills, with all musicians
Sure.
going back, to New York. I've been in a flight with Will Lee from
Dave Letterman's fan.
Letterman show, and a bunch of different guys over the years. You can see them all in the airport because they're leaving when you're leaving, and they're coming back when you're coming back.
Right. Yes. I haven't been on a plane in a while.
And they're all going to the NAMM show.
Right. Next year, hopefully that'll be a thing. NAMM hopefully we'll be back to normal, guys. And if we're not, for a while still, everybody out there, just hang in there. Do the right thing for yourself, for your bands, and for your neighbors and your loved ones, and just hang in there. I know people are stressed and freaking out, but it's not gonna last forever.
No, and try to make good use of the time.
Make good use of the time. Yes, somebody just put that comment up. Let me put, and very simply said, Steve Henderson said, utilize time
wisely. Yes, Steve Henderson.
And that is the thing to do. The Wisdom Whistle, dude. I expected to say Wisdom Whistle next week.
All right. Wisdom Whistle will be.
All right.
Will be the Wisdom Whistle. All right.
All right. So we'll just show you a couple of things here. CoverBandCenter.com is where you can go and sign up for a profile for you, your band, or both. It is free, and you'll find all sorts of goodies on the website. It's just loaded with content, and it keeps growing. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything else you want to yell at me about, Steve at CoverBandCentral.com. You send me an email, and I will respond to it if you're nice to me. Even if you're not nice to me, let's be honest.
You have people that can do that for you too, for the rude ones. So everyone will get a response. It just may not be as personal as you'd like it to be.
Yes. If you made it all the way here, thank you for joining us, and share this if you liked it. And you'll find it on YouTube and all that stuff. And you can listen to the 124 previous episodes on.
Yes, if you have 125 hours of nothing to do and you want to get caught up before next week, have at it.
They have plenty of time. You can find that on your favorite podcast source. So until then, next week we will see you. And
Peace.
be good to each other, and happy Valentine's Day.